Physicians Formula launched back in December 2018 for their spring 2019 collection 2 new eyeshadow palettes. Now the eyeshadow palettes are inspired by the brand's existing Butter collection, so that includes their blushes, the bronzers, as well as the highlighters. Each palette also contains 12 eyeshadows, and it also comes with the dual-ended brush that actually it's not a brush, it's got the cotton swab, not the cotton swab. What are those again? That material, the swab applicator. It'll come to me later, which just fell out of the pan right here. And each palette has a, what I would say like the color story. So you get 4 shades within the 3 segments. But first what I want to do is show you each one of the shades swatched on my eyelid so you can get an idea of what it actually looks like. And then I'm going to go palette by palette. So first up will be Tropical Daze. I want to talk about that first, and then we'll close it out with Sultry Mats. I cover up the 2 jewel tone shades in the Tropical Daze palette. It's just a neutral palette here with that pop of dark orange and then the dark rich brown. There are 6 mattes in this eyeshadow palette. One I feel is too subtle, and it's the one that my eye was immediately drawn to, which is Heatwave, which is this orange. This orange is quite subtle on my skin tone. It might just be that, where depending on your skin tone, the fairer you are, of course, Heatwave is going to be that nice rich orange on you. But on my skin tone, you know, I want Heatwave to look as deep and rich as it looks right there in the pan. So I was disappointed about that. But the other mattes I feel apply fine, they blend fine, and the color is true to life in the palette. Now this color here, which is White Sands, this shade actually looks like a matte shade. I'm looking at it real close. I mean, I just assumed it was a matte. There's no indication whatsoever that this is actually a shimmer shade. Once you apply it on your lid, it's not even a satin. Once you apply it on the lid, it's like white, boom, shimmer. So just be careful with that. Looking at the shimmer shades, or I don't even know if the brand is trying to make some of these shimmer shades like a metallic finish, but the formulas for the shimmers are like here, there, and everywhere. So that was disappointing to me as well. Let me just take a quick look at my notes here. The shade that's called Tan Lines, which is right here, this one is quite subtle on my eyelid. And again, looking at them, I would want them to feel, well, like the other butter products within the brand's collections. They're rich, they blend good, they do have a scent to it, the eyeshadow palettes. It's not a strong scent like that's associated with the butter collection. I just wanted to tell you that right now before I forget. Like with the bronzer, you open it up and it's boom, it hits your nose. You can smell it with this, but it's not as strong. So just keep that in mind. This shade right here in the second quad, which is called Sightseeing, this one applies best with your finger. If you use a brush, which you can, you're going to get another subtle look, almost to the point where it's quite difficult to pick it up with a brush, a synthetic brush. But when I use my finger and pack it on, I get that intensity that I would want, what it shows in the pan. These two jewel tone shades right here, those are two that are also best applied with your finger for that rich, deep intensity. Again, looking at it in the pan, I want it to look like that on the eyelid with a brush. This is the only shade here which looks true to life, not only in the pan, but on your eyelid with an actual brush. So no finger needed. With Sultry Mats, you are only getting 4 mats. So I'm actually counting this shade here as a matte, even though it has sparkles in it. I hate shades like that. I really do. Only because it's a waste. Once you blend it out, the sparkles disappear and it's just a regular old matte shade. So I'm considering that to be a matte. If the brand's intention is for you to buy both the palettes together, you can build up the mattes in your crease if that's what you wish, if you just use it with conjunction with the night palette. But again, there's only 4 mattes. Again, I'm calling that one a matte. Now, quad 1 here is split. So like how they had the first quad in the Daze, you have that brow bone shade, which is a matte cream. This one is a satin shade, so just reversed. Now this shade here, which is Coconut Kiss, this shade was terrible. It feels very gritty to the touch, and just the application on the eyelid was quite the same, just that gritty feeling. The middle quad, you have the two shimmer shades here at the top. Now just like in the Day palette where you had two that were really like buttery and rich to the touch, and the color was true to life on the eyelid, this is exactly how those two shades were as well. So that was nice to see. Rainforest Queen was the shadow that was very gritty to the touch, and it feels gritty on the eyelid. It's a beautiful green shade, but once you put this on your lid, it is something where I'd recommend when you put it on your eyelid, kind of leave the brush there a little bit, because once you lift up, you have all this excess powder and shimmers and so forth flying everywhere. So I wasn't impressed with that, even though that was my favorite color in this palette. Then again, you have this purple shade down here, which I'm stating is a matte, even though it has that sparkle. Once you blend it out, the sparkle is gone. So I just wish I just get rid of those. Just don't put them in a palette. I feel, again, it's just a waste. In the last quad here, you have the black down here. So it's a matte black. You can use it to smoke out your outer V. It's a night palette, so you know you want to get those smoky looks going. You can also use it for powder eyeliner on your eyelid. Reservation for Two, the shade right here, was horrible. It's hard to the touch, and it's hard to pick it up with a brush, and it's hard to get it up with your finger. My finger, half of it is bare, and I'm just digging and digging. That one, complete waste. No. Midnight Stroll was a little bit harder to the touch, a little bit harder on the eyelid, but at least you can pick it up, and you can pick it up, you know, for a stronger, intense shade with your finger as well. I do feel that the cons with the palettes outweigh the pros. There's too many shades in here that do not have the quality that I would expect from a butter product. Again, their other butter products work well, they blend well, and they're very popular within the makeup community. A lot of people do enjoy them. So looking at the eyeshadow palettes, these shimmers, you want them to be rich and pigmented and on the eyelid, not gritty, not having a color that, I mean, that just cannot even pick up from the pan with a brush or the finger. There's too many that are not up to par. With Physicians Formula, with their ingredients, with their formula, the skin sensitivity, you lower your risk. So if you are a makeup user and using eyeshadows make your eyes water, itch, you can get hives, you can just have, I mean, there's some people out there that have really bad allergies with just regular makeup in general. With Physicians Formula, again, the risk of that is going down. So if you are that particular consumer, these eyeshadows, again, having the patience with the shimmers, then that is the customer I feel would be best suited for these eyeshadow palettes. So even though there's a lot of what I feel cons with it, I try to see what are the positive aspects of it as well, and who might best be suited for this particular product. But again, for myself, I just don't feel this is something that I don't want to pick it up again. And that's why I didn't want to wear the eyeshadow in today's video. So we just got the swatches, and I hope that's okay. So that's it. Those are my opinions and my review on Physicians Formula's two new butter eyeshadow palettes, Tropical Daze and Sultry Nights. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. As always, I greatly appreciate it. Have a wonderful day, a wonderful evening, and as always, I'm going to see you in the next video. Goodbye, everyone.